How's it going, everyone? Good morning. It's me, V Duncan. I I wanted to talk to you guys about my experiences with being indigenous, um, homelessness, and my transition from homelessness into normal living. I guess I guess normal societal living. I don't know. Um, it's hard for me to it's hard for me to live because I don't know how. Um, I was raised off and on the reserve. I moved around a lot when I was young. Um, so for me to stick around somewhere for a long time, it's difficult. Um, I guess it all started when I left home. I left home at 16. I got a dishwashing job and I was living with my buddy's parents and renting and and I fucked that up because of my addiction. And yeah, I fucked a lot of things up with my addiction and with I've with how I've lived because I don't know how. I went to jail. I I got kicked out of that place and I was homeless in Oak Harbor for a while, kind of couch hopping, and sometimes I'd go stay in tents in this like one spot that they had hidden out where we'd go party. Um, but yeah, this kind of normal living didn't happen right away because then I moved in with my buddy's mom. I ended up getting into some more trouble and having to come back to Canada. Moved in with my aunt who kicked me out because of my alcoholism, and I just kind of hopped couch to couch until I went to treatment. I came to Edmonton, and I mean, the last time I had a place, my name on the lease or anything like that was when I was 21. And then after that, I just, I worked a lot. I sold a lot of drugs and supported my habit by doing all that and staying with people on their couches and in their spare rooms and just kind of getting by. And um, normal living is not easy for me as an addict, as as an indigenous man, because I never experienced normal living. I mean, I did to an extent, but it's it's just weird for me. Um, yeah, because up until 2013, from 2009 to 2013, I just kind of went from couch to couch, place to place. Sometimes I go stay at the snake pit, um, people's basements, under stairs. And then, went to jail, I moved to Calgary, um, hopped around, went from couch to couch, place to place, got out. I lived in the shelter for a while because there was nowhere else for me to go. When I got released, I had nowhere to go. So I went to the drop-in center, and that's where the cops kept me. It sucks. Um, because I was homeless, I just went into full-blown addiction. And because I'd been homeless for so long, I I didn't know what it was like to actually pay bills, to actually have, credit or any of this stuff because I'd been homeless for so long. And when I got down to that bottom, I got stuck. I got sucked into the system. I went to treatment center after treatment center, sober living house after sober living house. And it's not easy for indigenous men like me. We have a lot of mental health issues. We aren't prepared to grow up. No one taught us how to grow up. Growing up is fucking scary for most of us. I'm a 33-year-old fucking man-child. This is the first time I've had my name on like any sort of lease, and that wasn't connected to a sober living whatever in 7 years. 7 fucking years. Still technically homeless. I stayed at the Dream Center for 3. I stayed in Oxford House for almost a year. But I've never had this. And this is a really hard leap for homeless indigenous men because we don't know what we're doing. And that's the truth. This is scary. This was so fucking scary when I moved in here. But what I really wanted to get at was when I was living at the Dream Center and Dream Center housing, it was hard for me to be in a place like that. So I'd relapse and I'd go stay at the drop-in center in an Alpha house. And I'd stay there for a week and go back to my sober living or harm reduction house. And I did that for a while because normal living is scary. Living a normal life is scary. Having all this shit is scary. And no one offers to teach you about any of this shit. They just expect you to know. I come from a pretty fucking broken home. I mean, the last decent part, well, no, I'm not saying no. Like my childhood was good, but no one taught me how to do a lot of the things that I do now. I had to learn how to hustle. I had to learn how to take care of myself on my own. Well, fucking. That's what I know how to do. I know how to work and hustle. I know how to cook. I know how to do hard labor. I know how to sell whatever I can. So the Camp Picayune was talking about their demands and stuff. What kind of transitional housing do we need? Got a hotel and turn it into safe harm reduction living or sober living, where people can be okay, but don't put all these stupid restrictions and all these rules that set people up for failure up. Create living programs for these people. Teach them how to live. Give them counseling to deal with their anger, to deal with their mental health, because I'm still suffering with that. And I've been living a year on my own and I still can't get help with it because I was a homeless addict. A lot of doctors look at that and they look at my medical history and they don't even want to work with me. They didn't want to work with me when I was in Calgary, when I was in the Dream Center. It's like fucking pulling teeth trying to get mental health help when you were homeless. They say that we have all this like awesome mental health care help out there, but I can't even get properly diagnosed because everyone thinks I'm just searching for pills. They don't think I'm just trying to get high. So yeah, what we need to create is transitional housing, better transitional housing, more transitional housing available for indigenous men with criminal records, with violence on their records, because a lot of us, we have a lot of violence on our records because we went through a lot of abuse. A lot of abuse. My mom, when she'd get drunk, she'd beat the shit out of me. And I'm not saying that my mom was a bad person. She's just done it a couple times to make me remember. I don't blame her. She went through residential school. She went through a lot of shit. We all go through a lot of shit. Doesn't excuse anything. It's the kind of help that we need. These indigenous men that Picayune are trying to help, that the Drop In, that Alpha are trying to help. A lot of these men have gone through trauma that they're not talking about, that they're not dealing with. They continuously relapse. That's what I had to do, was deal with my issues, and I'm still dealing with my issues, and I'm not perfect. And a lot of these men that these foundations, these groups are trying to help, they got to understand that these men are hurt. I'm still hurt. I've talked to other indigenous men that have the same issues, the ones that came from the streets. Ones that find this reality hard to handle and think that it'd be easier just to go and live on the streets because that's what we know. No day goes by where I don't think of going back, forgetting about all of this fucking technology shit, rent, life, trying to make the world better because fuck it. The world's an ugly place and there's nothing that I can do. Might as well just go drink and hang out at the shelter with other people, other like-minded people, because nobody else will understand us. Nobody gets us. The people I'm trying to help don't even want my help. And I understand the people down there, and it sucks. We all come from broken homes. We all come from fucked up shit. The majority of us indigenous men. And they want to know what they can do to change. To help us change, to reconciliate, to make us better, to reduce homelessness in indigenous populations, to reduce the indigenous population incarcerated, create better mental health care programs and trauma care programs, and revamp all of your fucking addiction programs because they're not working. Quit locking us up. Actually help us, because a lot of us are broken men. Maybe if you helped us out, we wouldn't need this fucking thing called the Gladu Act for status Indians, because the Gladu Act it shouldn't be needed. Gladu Act the Gladu report is a report on my childhood, my upbringing, how my parents went through what residential school, what it was like for me growing up, the abuse, sexual abuse, the trauma that I've had dealt with. Maybe if we created better programs for indigenous men, you wouldn't need shit like the Gladu Act or Gladu report or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I wouldn't have to know about a pre-sentence report. I wouldn't have to know about all these fucking loopholes to get out of fucking jail. I wouldn't have to know all these fucking loopholes in the welfare system either. The government, the province, the cities, they rely on these private non-for-profit organizations that just take us in, don't offer us the proper mental health help that we need and the support that we need, and they wonder why we keep relapsing, why we keep dying, why we're in these shelters, why we have tent cities, why there's so many indigenous people incarcerated. Do you want to know what I think whenever I'm in trouble or life gets hard? I think the easiest thing for me to do right now is to go back to jail. When my life gets really fucked up and shitty and I feel like I got nothing left, I think, you know what? I'm going to go rob a liquor store right now. But I'm just going to go in, smash one of the clerks out, and sit there and drink on some rum until the cops get there and go back to jail, because that's how institutionalized and fucked up I am. And people don't get that. People don't get that it's easier for me to go back to living in the streets because that's what I know. I know where to go get free food. I know where to go panhandle. I know where to get day labor. I know where to get enough money to support my dope habit, my booze habit for the day. And then I can go sleep it off on a fucking mat. And during the summer, I can go sleep in the fucking river valley. I don't have to give a shit. These sober living places like Dream Center, they didn't offer me much. They offered me faith-based shit that doesn't help with the mental health issues that I have. So, you want to know what'll help indigenous, homeless, and incarcerated men change is if you create better programs for us. If you're going to incarcerate us, why don't you give us fucking counseling? Trauma-based therapy, where we're in a controlled environment. Or give us job skills, some sort of fucking skill, because every time I get locked up, I get put in on a gang unit or fucking I get put in mental health care ward because I'm crazy or they think I'm crazy. And in those units, you just get locked up. That's it. You just sit there all fucking day talking to other inmates, learning how to be a better criminal, or where to go if you're homeless and you want to sleep, or where to go if you want to panhandle, or where's a good place to steal sandwiches, where's a good place to go and where's a good place to go smoke crack, good place to go shoot up, where's a good place to go steal booze from, where can you get the best off sale deals. I'm 33 years old, and I've only been a responsible adult maybe 4 years out of my entire adult life. You gotta get these programs going for these men if you want to see change. You have to get programs that life skill programs, work programs, mental health care and trauma programs. And the city can provide all of this stuff because the city owns so many fucking houses and buildings that they could They could solve the problem. But they've taken those programs away. Something that I learned when I was staying in when I was in Fort Sask. Fort Saskatchewan jail used to have a farm, and they used to produce all the vegetables for the for the jails in Alberta. Inmates ran that. It worked in those programs. But because everything's so privatized now in American, we don't have that kind of shit. And the food that you get from these like companies are fucking disgusting. But these programs, these that they used to have for inmates are gone now. The top people that taught men how to work, how to be responsible. Now we just sit around in jail and it's just like on fucking Trailer Park Boys. You go to jail just to play hockey and to chill with the boys. Because what the fuck else are you gonna do? These men need these programs so they don't think that going to jail is the best answer. This last time I wanted to sober up, I thought I'd be better off just going to prison, so I might as well fucking hurt someone really bad and go to prison. Maybe there I'll be safe from myself. It's not insanity, it's just what we as an indigenous men know. A lot of us have grew up in and out of the system, in and out of foster care, in and out of broken homes, sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally, mentally. And people wonder why we react the way that we react and why we act the way we do, because we just get pushed aside and sloughed off. Because everyone else is more important, everything else is more important. And we should know better, but we don't, because no one fucking taught us. No one taught me how to be a responsible adult, how to pay bills, how to manage my bank account, how to save. I was just taught how to work. You want something, go work for it. So when it came time to be a responsible adult a little over a year ago, it scared the shit out of me. And I'm still fucking up. I still have days where I'm like, you know what? Let's just go back to the homeless shelter. You know what? I'm fucked in the head and I'm not right and I shouldn't be around people. So you know what's the best thing for me to do? I'm just gonna go fucking smash someone out and I'm gonna go back to prison. I'm gonna go to prison. I'm gonna go do a fucking 20-year bit. You know what? I'll be fine. I don't need this shit. I don't fucking whatever. And no one wants to give us the time of day until we actually do shit like that. That's what it normally takes for us to get attention is we have to go hurt someone. Not ourselves. We could hurt ourselves and fucking no one gives a shit. But as soon as we hurt someone else, then people pay attention. And that's honestly where I'm at. Some days I don't know. So if you're gonna try and help indigenous men, homeless men, homeless people understand that they have a lot of underlying issues and that lifestyle is a lot easier for them than this one. It's a lot easier for me to go back to living on the streets and surviving that way. Me and my best friend talk. We talk about that all the fucking time. It's like, man, I could pack this and be fine. I don't need this shit. Sometimes, half the time, I don't even want it. Sometimes it's easier for me to say, fuck it, let's go back to jail. Let's go fucking steal a car, drive it into a fucking liquor store, hop out, grab a bottle, back up, drive into a fucking pharmacy, hop out, grab some fucking pills, slam the pills, drink, and wait to go to jail. You know how fucking easy that would be for me to do? And say, fuck all this noise because I don't want to live this way? Because I've been so institutionalized and so adjusted to the life that I've been living that you really got to understand the kind of people that you're trying to help. A lot of my uncles I watched growing up, the ones that were survivors of the residential school, a lot of them lived on the streets in Williams Lake. A lot of them live on the streets in Kamloops, Kelowna. They die out there. They stay out there until they die. And sometimes I think that would be easier for me to do. To let go of the phone, the laptop, the home. This idea of living a normal life and just go live that way. Go panhandle, go work cash jobs and live off of cheap booze and in shelters. Because that's what I feel like doing sometimes. So much easier doing that. Not caring about anyone else or anything and just that. We don't have help. We don't. I got kicked out of the Dream Center because of my temper. I lost my temper on one of my best friends. Threatened to smash him out because I was just trying to follow rules and be the obedient whatever it was that I was. And there's there's a lot of us like that. A lot of us indigenous men. In and out of the Dream Center, Oxford House, places like Jellinek House, all of these places that are designed to help men and their addiction, not deal with their trauma, not help with their mental health, just deal with their addiction. And then they wonder why they see so many indigenous men out on the streets, why they see so many indigenous men in jail, because nobody wants to fucking help us. And sometimes we just say, fuck it, we give up, and we just go back to living that lifestyle. It's so much easier for me just to go back to that and not try. So, yeah, create more programs. Create more programs that deal with anger and mental health and trauma. I don't know how many times I gotta say that, but that's what we need. That's what Pecune says that we need too. And I'm saying this as a indigenous recovered homeless man who still has no idea how to fucking do most of this adult shit. And I'm 33 years old and everyone expects me to know how to do this kind of stuff. And I don't. It's embarrassing. That's why a lot of us relapse. Because we get into this kind of living and we don't know what we're doing, and then we try to ask for help, or we're too ashamed to ask for help, and then we're just like, fuck it, I don't know how to do this, I'm gonna go back. I don't know. Really, next time I talk about this, I'm gonna draw out an outline and give you an idea of what will help. What kind of programs will help, what kind of design for living will help, because making fucking demands and not giving them isn't getting us anywhere. Making demands and giving them a map, an outline of what can be done, not just with hotels, but with city property, city housing. I don't know. Y'all have a good day.